Was this expected? I imagine it must have been.
They were prudent to say something.
Right.
They have direct exposure through their Surface product, which they make and sell themselves, and even more so through their customers with Windows PCs. They were prudent to not put a range on it because we can't really know, obviously, but we, at least from our model, can size the envelope of risk. We know the size of the Windows exposure. It's about 9% of revenue. That's number one. Number two, we know that Asia, if that's where the demand and production effects are concentrated, is about a third of global PC demand. So we calculated that of the $3 billion quarterly revenues for Windows OEM, every $100 million hit to revenue, if that's what happens, would be about a penny a share.
Right.
And for Surface, because it's a much lower margin profit product and smaller anyway, it would be even less of an earnings impact per dollar of revenue impact.
Are those sales that you think get put off or that disappear?
Well, they said in the release last night that they don't believe, and I spoke to them afterwards, that this is a demand issue, which seems intuitively right. When you think about the demand for Windows 7 refresh cycle, that is not going to go away given customers' technological needs. So when the pent-up demand is met, that's the question. But right now, at least for this quarter, we can size what the deltas might be.
We had the Adobe CEO on yesterday, and the interesting point he made was it didn't really matter in terms of the China sales because he said most people there don't pay for their software anyway. They're getting ripped off.
Right, and Adobe, for its size, is really interesting. We cover Adobe, as you know.
You raised your price target.
No, that was a couple months ago.
Oh, okay, they had a February 25th date on it.
We still very much like the stock,
and
have for a long time. But Shantanu was right, because Adobe has very little direct exposure to China, a remarkably small amount of revenue paid for. They have employees in China, but given their size, they are not overly exposed to that market. And none of my companies has more than a single-digit % exposure to China, even Microsoft.
You've done the models such that you're focused mostly on Asia. What do your models look like if this really becomes global?
Well, the stat that I gave before is from Gartner, the industry research firm, which published their 2019 PC shipment data. From that, we could see that a third of 2019 shipments went to Asia, and that number's been proportionally
No, I know, but
stable.
you're focused on Asia. I'm saying...
Of course, but if it spreads, we can still do it's the same math. For every $100 million of revenue delta of Windows shipments, wherever it occurs, we can still figure out what the earnings per share impact would be, regardless of where it occurs. I just highlighted Asia because presumably that's where the center of gravity is for the time being.